Welcome to How They Get Stuff Done, where we ask people about the productivity habits behind their success. I'm your host, Peter Akis. Today I'm speaking with Sabyasachi Sengupta. Originally from India, Saby now lives and works in Amsterdam as a business developer at ABN AMRO. He's an accomplished speaker, having won the European Championship of Public Speaking, and he speaks professionally even during global pandemics. Saby recently published What's Your Plan B? Turn Adversity into Your Benefit, which couldn't be more timely. Saby and I discuss how he found the discipline to write a book in addition to working full-time, what motivates him to keep showing up, what his morning routine looks like, and much more. Enjoy the show. Okay, Sabyasachi Sengupta, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Peter.
It's lovely to have you here. We are here on the final day of 2020 in what is a somewhat sunny Amsterdam. And for those of you listening at home, you can't see this, but Saby and I actually managed to meet face-to-face for this.
In 2020, no one can imagine that can happen, but we made it happen in the last day of the year.
We made it happen, and I'm very glad that we did. So thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure.
So, Saby, I think a lot of people, when they hear me introduce you, they think he's a pretty accomplished and successful guy. And what I would like to know is, outwardly you look successful and productive. You have written a book, published a book. You're an accomplished speaker. You also have a full-time job. How productive and successful do you feel?
Honestly speaking, I feel I can do so much more. I personally don't think I'm very productive. When I look at someone like you, I feel like I can be much more structured, much more disciplined. The thing is, I actually like myself when I'm more structured and disciplined, and that's the only way I can get things done. I used to like working in chaos, but I think with age, I feel the more structured I am, it helps, especially if you want to do more than one thing at a time. It really helps. Are there days when I don't feel productive? Yes, there are a lot of days. And I think the good thing is to remember not be too hard on yourself days when you're not that productive. Well, although I am hard on myself on the days when I'm not productive, and plan it how you want to approach the next day. Do I consider myself very successful? I think I'm just trying to make a mark like all of us here. And the easiest and the most comfortable way for me to do it is to be structured. I know people who find success as by being chaotic and doing things off the cuff. I am not that. I need clarity, I need planning, I need structure. Otherwise, I feel lost. So it is. I do it in a structured way because it is easier and convenient method for me.
And I think that having the self-awareness to know what works and doesn't work for you is super important.
Well, this really, when I was in India as a student and as a kid, you're not structured as a kid. I didn't enjoy my studies, so I wouldn't study. And then the last day, there is a mountain of studies to do. And India is extremely competitive. If you don't get good grades, you cannot get into good school, good colleges, and all these things. And then on the last day, I would regret, man, I wish I had studied a month back. I wish I had studied at least a week back. Then I didn't have to go through this madness on the very last day. And I do know that more than studying, I was more stressed. Like there was 50% study and 50% stressed. Oh my God, I have to study. Oh my God, I have to study. And it's not a nice feeling. And in the end, it would show on my grades. And once in a blue moon, when I did plan and study throughout the year for a subject, I saw that I got good grades and I was not stressed. I was actually relaxed on the day before exam, and I could go smoothly. And that is something, a habit I try to bring into my adult life when I'm doing things that I really enjoy. I'm very passionate about, like speaking, writing, working, and I'm trying to be more structured.
And so you learned from your past experience that structure works for you. And what does your structure look like these days? When you say that you are more structured now than you used to be, what does that look like? What can we see?
So there are. So the thing is, what I personally do, and I everybody has their own methods, is that I think what is a curse of people who are structured and good in planning is that They sometimes, and I do that as well, they fall in love with their structure and planning so much that when things go wrong, they are not able to adapt quickly to the changes.
Yeah.
So for example, for the last 4 years, I have been, since I started speaking professionally, there was a time where I felt like I'm going crazy. I don't know how to manage, because you work towards getting these speaking gigs, you work towards being on a big stage, and then a week before the big event you realize you don't have a speech, and it is extremely nerve-wracking, because your reputation, your credibility, everything is at stake. And I didn't want to be in that zone again. So at the start of every year, I make 10 to 12 plans for myself. These are the things I want to do, achieve, and some are as basic as, okay, 1 month of no alcohol, and some are more concrete, like I want to finish a book, or do 10 speeches this year, and I every morning keep a tab on that. Now this year was, I think, one of the most difficult years, because a lot of planning that I had could not materialize because of COVID. The world changed, everything changed, so very painfully I had to take out 3-4 planning out of that schedule and make a COVID-19 backup plan, which meant, okay, now I'm working from home, but I'll go for a run twice a week. I will eat healthy. I will finish this much in the book. So those backup plans I implemented, and I saw, instead of sitting that with the disappointment that my plans are not materializing, I was able to quickly adapt. Now, and I also make short-term plans, which is my daily routine, which is right now a little different, but I can tell you, like, last 1 year how it has been when I was writing the book. I'm never an early riser, but I disciplined myself to wake up in the morning in 6 in the morning. In fact, few minutes before 6, like 5:40, 5:45. So I get 10 minutes of slouching, just being lazy. So that's my gift to myself, 10 minutes of being lazy. Then start with a coffee. Then I go to freshen up. I take 1 minute of cold shower to force myself to wake up, and it's like someone slapped you right on the face when you take that cold shower in the morning. And by 6:30 or 6:45, I start writing or working on the book. I do that till 8:30, 8:40, depends on the day. Then I have a cup of tea in the balcony for 5 minutes. I play a song, and after that do a little bit of exercise, and then I start with my work at the bank, which goes from 9 to 5:30, depends on the day. There were days when I would twice a week go during lunchtime for a short run, 5K, 10K, sometimes depends on the day and the weather. And it was but the only problem is, by 6 p.m. I am dead. When the whole world wakes up and they're like, let's go for a drink, let's do this, and I am dead. But I didn't complain, because I had done so much. I had worked out, I had done my work, I had done my speaking work, my book work, everything in one day. I also, what helped me is to chalk out activities where I end up spending too much time. For example, spending time watching YouTube videos, spending time watching TV shows, spending time too much on the shower. So I have, the only thing I have not been able to cut down is those YouTube videos. Sometimes you get distracted with, especially when you're working on a laptop, it's so easy to just jump to a tab and watch YouTube videos. That's the only thing I have not yet controlled. TV series, I'm only allowed to watch if I'm having lunch or dinner. That's the only time. That's how I finished the entire seasons of Money Heist. Over lunch and dinner. That's the only time I'm allowed to watch TV. When I'm in the shower, I play songs. My favorite being "Light of the Seven," which is like a 10-minute song. Before the song is over, I'm out of the shower. So
very structured.
Yes, and some days
disciplined.
Yeah, it really helps, because that is one thing that really gives you, you have a grip of the time, and not just with the shower, but there are many activities like I get distracted very fast. I think it's a problem with a lot of people. I give you a classic example. Like today, I was like, okay, I'm going to take out the dishes from the dishwasher and then write this email. But as I'm taking out the dishes, I got distracted and I started doing something else. And these dishes are there, and then I've wasted half an hour. So these kind of non-productive activities, non-creative activities, I have put timelines. So okay, I play a 5-minute song. Within the 5 minutes, I have to empty the dishwasher and do the next activity. So cooking has been always synced with songs, so that I don't like. Okay, if it takes more time, it takes more time, but I'm not getting distracted. I have a time limit to finish it. Creative work, you cannot put timeline. When I was writing the book, I did not pressure myself that in 30 minutes I have to come up with an idea, because there's no way it works. So it's good to know. For me, it was what is a creative work which wasn't creative, and give them the same attention.
Yeah, I think your daily routine, especially while you are writing the book, may sound to a lot of people as taking so much willpower or discipline, because you said you get up at 6 a.m, which people may not be used to, or even just waking up and doing the same thing every day. I think a lot of people find that tricky, and I know I'm always thinking about the balance between doing what I feel like doing in the moment, right, which to some degree I think is healthy and good, and at the same time having structure in your life.
Yeah.
Because so what do you do, or maybe especially while you were writing the book, I think this is probably the most relevant, what would you do when you woke up in the morning and you really didn't feel like writing?
Oh, it happens a lot. It did happen a lot. Two things. One thing is, I'll sit with the laptop even though I don't feel like doing it. I did not allow myself to do something else. It's to be sure that I'm not feeling lazy. It's just sometimes you have a creative bankruptcy. But those 2 hours are dedicated to my writing. There's nothing else I will do in that time. So I will sit on my desk with the laptop, staring at what I've written, and read, maybe go back to yesterday's work here and there. Sometimes ideas would come, but I will not allow myself to do something else, like start watching a movie, for example, or go for a run at that point of time. That 2 hours dedicated for this. And yes, there were days when I didn't get focus. I mean, it is good to know that this happens to everybody, and it's good to feel sorry about it, because if you don't feel sorry, then you will keep repeating that mistake. What also helped me was I had friends whom I made accountable partner. Like I think I had this deal with my friend Jag, where every week we would meet and he would monitor my progress, and it helped me, because the thing is, especially in the lockdown period, it was so easy to get distracted. Now, in my work at the bank, it's quite a high pressure zone. I have worked all my life in high pressure zone in India. Suddenly, if I don't have pressure, I am lost. It falls in my priority list. I think it happens to everybody. So to have that pressure and that accountability helped me stay focused, and there were times I missed my target. I didn't feel like doing it, but it happens, but it should not happen too frequently. Otherwise, you will not reach the target.
Yeah.
It's good to also know what really motivates you. I think one of the things that does motivate me, or I won't say motivate, but is being a public speaker, being on stage. That applause is a big thing for us. We love that appreciation. At the same time, we're also scared of that, of not living up to that appreciation. So,
you don't want people to be quiet when you make a joke.
Exactly. So I had announced somewhere in June that my book will be ready by end of October, when I was nowhere close to being ready, only because I wanted to put myself under that pressure that I will finish it in 100 days. People find me crazy when I say this, but goal is a dream with a deadline, and if there is no deadline, it's not going to finish. I mean, it will take ages and delay. Sometimes, like, I didn't finish in October, it went to November, but that's because there were good reasons for me to push it by 3 weeks. Things were a little delayed, but delaying it indefinitely is, you're just kicking the can down the road. And I work great with deadlines. It really motivates me, and sometimes I just announce things in advance because it puts so much pressure on me that I've promised I'm going to finish it by then. So it does stress, but in the end you get things done.
And so this is, again, a piece of self-awareness that you have, and that's something that I try to tell my students all the time too, is I'm making suggestions, but like, you are you and you're not me, and so what works for me may not necessarily work for you. It's great to understand it for you. The external motivations like deadlines really work, whereas for me personally, I hate deadlines, whether I set them myself or other people set them for me. And so I really I will start resisting them, and it's very counterproductive, actually.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a deadline coming up. Maybe it was writing your book, or even if you're giving a speech, right? Let's say you're giving a speech in 2 weeks. You mentioned earlier you don't want to leave it until the last minute because you know that that's a very unpleasant experience, and of course you want to give a good speech. So how do you then get yourself 2 weeks ahead of time to actually do the work when you could also tell yourself, oh, whatever, I mean, I can start this next week?
It's very simple. You know that if this goes down the hill, you're not going to be called again to speak. It is, your reputation is at stake. And I don't trust my last minute work. I cannot, so I can work under normal pressure, but I cannot work very well under the last minute pressure. I know there will be, anyways, things will go wrong. I know things will not go according to plan. But I know myself, I'm not the person who can wink it at the last moment. It's good to know that about yourself. Some people can, good for them. I'm not that person. And I remember once a family friend of ours told this, and I always believed this as one of the gospel truths of my life, is that success is a product and not a sum of three things. It's a product: your merit, your effort, and your luck. Luck is unpredictable. We cannot control it. Merit, I think we all have more or less the same. If not, that's not something you can change a lot.
Yeah.
It's not really in your control. The only thing that you can manage, manipulate, and control is efforts. And that is something I have always believed in. My friends sometimes get angry when I say that I consider myself very mediocre. I consider my skills as a speaker, writer, banker, everything mediocre. That's my merit level. Luck, we can't count on it. It's the effort where I can tweak, where I can make the difference. And when it comes to that, if I'm passionate about it, I will leave no stones unturned.
And you mentioned it's a product of those three ingredients, because if you put in no effort,
it's zero.
There will be no results.
Yeah. And in spite of everything, if your luck is bad, Corona happens, you're still zero, but that's unfortunate. But luck will not always be zero. Great ideas never die. It's just a matter of time. It may not see life today, but it will see life tomorrow.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said earlier, where you mentioned that you had to change, I don't know if it was your daily routine, but at least when the pandemic hit, you started doing things a little bit differently. And that relates to the topic of your book, right? What's your plan B? Turn adversity into your benefit. So coronavirus, the whole global pandemic, it's a massive adversity event. So what changes did you make in your personal life to continue to be effective, productive, whether that's for your job or for your speaking, which I suppose is very different as well, or for your writing? What changes did you make as a result of the pandemic?
First thing was accepting it, to be fair. Like I remember when we were announced at work that we're going to be working from home, we had the team A and B. I remember going up to my manager and said, how long do you think this will last? I mean, I want to come
weeks.
back. Yeah, he said maybe June, at least June, I'm like, man, that's this March. I'm talking March 2020. June, that's like, oh my God, 3 months from home. And here we are in December. Nothing has changed.
It's going to be like this for a while.
It's going to be like this for a while. This is going to be the new reality. The first thing I did was accept this. You know what? This is what it is. We are not going to go back to the normal. And, I had those 3 months and I thought, you know what? I'm saving 1 hour of daily commute. Let me use that time prudently. And that I used that time in the book. That extra time that I got out where I didn't have to get ready, don't have to iron my shirt, put on the blades, put on my suit, or go take the metro. I used that in the book, and that really helped. So in February, when we were still going to work, I would still get up at 6, take a shower, coffee, by 6:30, and till 7:30 I got only one hour to work on the book. And then I would have to get ready to go to work. Now I got 2 hours. Now I can sit and cry about that fact that I can't go to work, or I can use this 2 hours to maximum advantage. Initially, I did not meet people because there was a lot of scare, but I am very lucky that I have amazing friends like you in my life who have made time for me for going for walks, all the all the social things that we are allowed to do within the protocols of COVID-19, I did, and that kept me going. I am a very social person. I love the human contact. It keeps me energy to talk to people, talk to inspiring people like you. And it did hit me hard the first 1 or 2 months, but I put my energy into my work and I started running. I did notice that when I run, I do something physical activity. It also keeps my mind active, and I was pretty happy. And I think, and you know what happens is when you do these things and you also post on social media, people are praising you and you feel like, wow, I feel good. Everybody likes compliments. We post on social media to get noticed, liked. It felt really good, and that kept me going till June, July, August. And after that, it became a new reality. I mean, right now, working from home doesn't feel bad at all. It feels like normal, I think. But initially, it was hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that I admire about you is that you said, this is a different situation. How can I use this to my advantage, right? How can I turn this to my benefit, rather than what you said, complaining about it? It would have been easy for you to say, okay, I save it an hour on my commute. I guess I get to watch Netflix for an extra hour a day. And, I think a lot of people listening may be struggling with, especially if they live by themselves or they're not socializing a lot, like you mentioned. Maybe now it's the winter season in the northern hemisphere, so going outside may not be as fun. People may be thinking, like, how do you find that motivation? So do you have any suggestion for people, like how can they help them, change their mindset from, you know what, I'm going to take it easy, and sort of go on TikTok or whatever, right? And instead do something productive, like writing a book.
Yeah. Well, the COVID-19 backup plans that I did, were not one plan. They were like 5. I'm trying to remember what were they. So one was running twice a week. One was doing some daily exercises. One was about writing the book and making progress in it. One was, I'm trying to remember, but there were like some creative stuff as well. Like, yes, I remember. Now I remember. I did a course earlier this year on sketchnoting, which was like explaining complex business processes and business ideas through cartoon kind
drawings, right?
Drawings.
Yeah.
And I used that time. So every week I used to draw. Sometimes about the book, sometimes about how I'm feeling about the COVID-19. And I personally feel the moment you start creating something, doesn't matter how small, how big, whether you want to show it to the world, you just want to keep it to yourself, it gives a sense of accomplishment. It gives you a sense of happiness that I created something.
Yeah.
And that happiness is a good starting point to turn adversity into your benefit.
Sure.
And that was one of the things I did that really kept me going. And I think why I think it goes wrong. Writing a book is a mammoth task. It is really a lot of work. It took me 2 years to write the book with all these things. But what people don't know is that the idea of writing the book has been with me since 2015. In 2015, we had a conference in Amsterdam, and one of my good friend and a mentor figure, Florian Muk, told me to write a book. He said, authority comes from author. And I said, I don't want to write a book because it's so much work. I don't know what I want to write. And, you receive text from me. I make grammatical mistakes. My spellings are sometimes all over the place. Sometimes I just forget the verb or the preposition. Yeah, Peter is nodding for people who cannot hear it. So he's familiar with all the...
Hey, but this is not the stuff that matters. Right? Your storytelling is what matters.
I make a lot of typos and I'm not proud of it. I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I wanted to be a speaker, not a writer. So I thought, you know what, let me start writing blogs. Since 2016 till 2020, I think I've written at least 10 to 15 one-page blogs. And I wrote blogs about things I love. So I combined television shows, I love watching TV and movies, how you can use examples from TV and movies into public speaking world. So whether it was how Tom Cruise interrogated in the Few Good Men, or a scene from Django Unchained, or how Jessica Pearson's body language is in Suits, or how Claire Underwood gave her speech when she became the president in House of Cards, how Sheldon thanked people in his Nobel, spoilers, in Big Bang Theory, what to learn from that speech, how to thank people. I picked up scenes like that which involved somewhere like public speaking, and wrote that. And I really started enjoying doing that, because there are so many good examples of public speaking in all these movies.
Like popular culture.
Yeah. Like Game of Thrones, how Tyrion uses his humor, those kind of things. And of course I made errors, and I asked a friend who was an editor to edit it, and she used to say that over the time my writing has improved substantially. I make less error, more confident in bringing my point out, make longer sentences. I'm more creative in how I express, because one of the things I was afraid of, I use the same kind of words again and again. I could see, and now when I read my first, and I keep them all in one folder, when I read the first to last, I see Quantum Leap, and that's where I got the confidence. Maybe I'm ready to write a book.
Yeah, and surely that's how it went with your speaking as well. The very first time you ever gave a speech, it wasn't your most eloquent speech ever, right? It just happens over time.
No.
And I actually wanted to ask you about that, because you speak quite a lot and you're accomplished at it. And a lot of people I speak with really struggle with focus and doing something. I mean, with writing a book, it's true, but I think especially when you're working on a speech, like whether it's, when you're going from idea to like finalized speech, it's very creative work, and you really have to focus on it, right? You cannot do it sort of while you're watching TV, or at least I cannot do it while I'm watching TV. I need to sort of like go on a walk without my phone and like nobody talking to me, just to think through an idea. How do you find that focus when you're giving a speech to flesh out the concept into something that's presentable?
It really depends. To be fair, depends on where I'm speaking. So we're part of Toastmasters. Sometimes we have noticed that sometimes Toastmasters, you just prepare it last minute. But of course, when it's a contest speech, it takes a lot of preparation. I think the most prepared speech I've ever done is my 2014 speech in Lyon that I gave when I tried to be an actor. It was a funny speech. And I told my mentor then, Jessica, that I don't want to prepare too much, because then I lose my spontaneity. I'm not spontaneous. I'm not fun. It looks too prepared. I don't want to do that. And she told me, no, when you prepare, yes, your fun and spontaneousness goes, but then you prepare more than that. You reach that level of preparation where everything looks you're speaking from the heart. You're speaking effortless. So that's the level you need to reach. And that stayed with me. I mean, if you look at my speech, I look at myself like six years younger, 30 kilos lighter. I look at myself, I feel like, wow, I really prepared a lot for it. I think, again, it really depends on what motivates you. I am a competitive person. I like to win. And that thing of losing really pushes me that, no, I want to put more efforts to do it well. And I used to hear these cliches when I was new to the speaking world. It's not competition with others, it's competition with yourself. But after being in Toastmaster for 10 years and done so many speeches, I can tell you it is really competition with yourself. That you want to be. When I look at that speech now, I feel like I need to outdo myself now. I need to do a speech even better than my last time, which is not easy, but it is really a competition with yourself. And I get motivated with factors that's outside. So a mentor who pushes me, friends who evaluates my speeches, and a stage that seduces me to come up and speak. So these factors do help me, but everybody has different motivation. You need to know for yourself what motivates you.
And so you're really thinking about those motivations as you're doing the work, right?
It sounds going to sound bad, but I always say there are only two kind of people in my life. The one who stands behind me, who support me, who know everything when I'm preparing and they're with me in my journey. And there's another who stands in front of me, that's my audience. And I do everything to show to them how I'm preparing. So from the book to the speech, and not in a show-off way, but in like, look at me, I have something for you. I want to show you. And I always think of them like I'm doing it, I'm preparing for them. They are coming, they're spending their time, energy to come and listen to me. I owe it to them. I should prepare for it.
Great. I love that. All right. I have one final question for you, Saby, which is, you mentioned that you used to get up at 6 a.m. Do you still do this, by the way?
The last 2 weeks, no. I consciously took a break. Yeah. Also, with the book being done, I also want to take a little easy. But my plan is from Saturday on to be back on that schedule.
Okay, let's say you're back on that schedule.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot about whether I need to get up earlier. And so you'll hear some people talk about the 5 a.m. club and things like that. And it can come across a little bit snobbish to me. People are like, I get up at 5 a.m. and by the time you wake up, I've already done and like that never feels right to me because now you're like bragging about it, but it really seems to have worked for you because it helped you write your book. Yeah. And so one thing that I've been noticing, especially in this, it's a darker season now here in Amsterdam, the later I get up, the less daylight I have to work with. And it just feels so good to be productive in the morning and to already feel accomplished. I've done a few things. Yeah. Do you have any suggestions for me? Like how can I make it easier for myself to get up early in the morning at the same time every day? Because sometimes a friend is like, oh, hey, do you want to hang out in the evening? And then we hang out. And then what do you do?
Well, that's a tough one because you have to make those unpopular choices. Actually, I've learned that from you. I know someone who says, look, I can't go beyond this. I have to go home and sleep. You're really good at that. I have made that unpopular choice. You have no idea how many friends call me grandpa right now in my friend circle because it's 10 o'clock and I'm already feeling sleepy. See, the thing is, there's nothing to brag. I mean, I'm pretty sure even the people who wake up at 5 a.m., I'm very confident it's not every day they are super productive. It's impossible. But it's really up to you which time of the day you feel the most productive. It is totally your choice. See, the thing what I feel difficult to work in the evening and the night is that if I don't sleep in a good time, decent time, I feel groggy the next day. I feel like I have not slept enough. I don't feel good about myself. Second thing is, I cannot keep that work, say the book work at the end of the day, because then the pressure is building for me. Like, okay, I haven't done anything. Now it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. And I've seen that when I was going to work, that, okay, I'm going to work in the evening. I come back home, 6.
You're tired.
You have dinner. Then you're more tired. Then you look for a reason not to do it. Somebody calls you, let's go for a drink, and then you're like, okay, let me do one drink and then I'm going to come and do it. But I come back at 10. I'm not going to work at 10. I know myself because I'm tired, but I do feel the pressure now. Okay, I have to do this. What I found convenient for me is get up in the morning, get it done with. I am now relaxed.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I can go out for a walk with a friend. I can go in the evening. One of the biggest advantage of waking up early, it's the best time to reply to everybody's WhatsApp. You receive messages from me 6 a.m. because most people text me like 8 or 9 or 11, and I hate having this to and fro on WhatsApps. I rather call. So I just don't check my phone after 6 or 7 p.m. And when I wake up at 6 a.m, I have tons of messages. I reply to all of them. By the time I get the reply, it's already like 9 or 10, and I'm already done with my day. So I don't get distracted at all. But again, you have to, when it comes to the social events and everything, you have to be able to say no. That's one thing. Sometimes it's painful. We all have the FOMO, fear of missing out. But, you have to think of the greater good sometimes. Yeah. And one of the things I struggled in October, November was that I'd stopped running and exercising. So because there was a lot of work at the bank and also work at the book, that I found myself going to bed at 10, but I'm mentally exhausted, but physically not tired enough to fall asleep, which was difficult. So I was like, my eyes were open. I'm trying to sleep, but I can't sleep. That happens. So it's good to do some physical activities as well, enough so that body is tired, your mind is tired, and next morning you wake up fresh. And as an adult, you should know what time of the day you feel the most productive.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think so a few lessons that listeners can take from this is you got to figure out what works for you, right? And I like that you've tried a lot of things and you've built up the awareness now. So that's something that I'll take away. And of course, the other lesson that we'll take away for the listeners is you get to batch process your text messages and your WhatsApp messages. So that's a really efficient thing to do. All right. Saby, would you like to just tell the listeners again the title of your book and where they can find it?
Well, my book title is What's Your Plan B? And it is available on Amazon. I think that is one platform where you can find it all over the world, in India, America, Netherlands. And if you are in the Netherlands, there are more outlets like bol.com, managementbook.nl. But for all the global listeners, Amazon is the way to go. You get A to Z there.
Great, and we're also going to put the link to your book and to your website in the show notes so people can find you. So thank you very much for being on the podcast.
It's been a great pleasure. It was an amazing way to end the year. Thank you, Peter.
All right, thanks. Hey there. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to get more organized and be more productive, check out my courses. They're over at peterakis.net. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, in which I share my insights on productivity with thousands of subscribers every Sunday. Thanks for listening, and have an awesome day.